Hey, gorgeous Diva. That's right, Steve's looking at me, laughing at myself, laughing at me. He thinks I look a bit weird, staring at a screen and talking randomly. Okay, so here we are. Welcome to this week's bite-size training. And I'm going to be talking about the 3 levels of wealth consciousness absolutely every solopreneur must know, because it's really going to help them increase their sales. Not only increase your sales, but also help you understand why sometimes you just can't convert those prospects that you know you can really help. It's also intertwined with my own journey, my own stinky money story, I like to call it, and how I have learned about money and wealth consciousness on my solopreneur journey over the last year and a half. Now, it's also important to know these 3 different steps of wealth consciousness, because it will really help you to understand how not to compromise your values and your integrity. And it should also cut out as well spending time with people who are going to never, ever, ever convert into being paying clients. Let me just check. I am live. I'm using a new system. Yes.
Your values and your integrity.
It's obviously running a little bit behind.
Also cut out as well spending time with people who are going to never, ever,
I can't shut myself up
into being paying client.
Hysterical. Yeah, so where was I? Let's get back on track. Today's bite-sized training with impact, as I said, is all about the 3 levels of wealth consciousness that every solopreneur needs to absolutely know, so they can make more sales without compromising their values and their integrity, which is really important to us coaches, mentors, experts who are really wanting to connect with people in a way that isn't salesy or pushy or manipulative. Yeah. Understanding your money, I mean really understanding your money, your relationship with money, will either make or break you in business. Absolutely. What we believe about money, what beliefs we hold, will either make or break us. My mentor says, Kendall, that the way we do money is the way that we do everything. And it is so true and applies to running your business, whether you're going to survive or thrive in business. Have you ever had, because I absolutely have you ever had a prospect on the phone, on Zoom, and you are absolutely convinced that they are, well, it's not that you're convinced, they are absolutely perfect for you to work with one-to-one to get that real deep transformation it is that you can get for your clients, but they just will not budge. They will not invest financially in themselves, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do. It is incredibly frustrating. I used to find it incredibly frustrating because I didn't understand about these 3 different levels of wealth consciousness that I have developed over the last couple of years. They desperately need your help, but they just won't invest. Yes? Give me a yes in the chat box if you've had plenty of those people. Well, I'm going to share you one of the reasons why that is likely to be, to put your mind at rest. But before I do that, for the new people in my community, let me just take a tinkle to introduce myself. While I do this, can you pop in the chat box for me below where you're from and the clients it is that you would work with? That would be awesome. I'm currently in Thailand on a beautiful tropical island called Koh Chang. So let me know where you are in the world. That would be awesome. For news people who aren't familiar with me, I'm Wendy Kier. I mentor committed female entrepreneurs who are established in the marketplace and have a message that makes an impact, but they are really struggling online to attract premium clients. I coach them to confidently step into their visibility, reach a wider audience, and create more clients and financial freedom in a way that is easy, fun, and feminine. Now, let's face it, who doesn't want some of that? Okay, so here we go. How to assess your prospect's level of wealth consciousness so you don't end up wasting valuable time on the people who will never ever pay, which will obviously save you a lot of time, a lot of energy, and let's face it, beating yourself up a little bit as well. So this has been about my wealth consciousness journey, the 3 levels of wealth consciousness it is that I have been through on my own journey, which I want to share with you, which I share with my private clients when I teach them how to have an inquisitive sales call. So it's a win-win for them and the prospect. There's nothing salesy, pushy about it. This is based on my journey and from my expertise. So 3 levels of wealth consciousness. Firstly, we have what I call stuck in your story, having a stinky money mindset. The second level of wealth consciousness is when you move into a phase of have and have not. Third level of wealth consciousness is about taking inspired action. Let's delve more deeply into these 3 levels of wealth consciousness so you can start to understand where your prospect is. Now, this is great because it will save you an awful lot of time, especially when it comes to following up with people. If they are stuck in their story, you absolutely can't help them until they are ready to move. So it means when it comes to following up, you can hang back and just get focused in on the next 2 levels of wealth consciousness, which is have and have not and inspired action. Most of my clients, most of the people that I work with are either in have or have not, or inspired action. So have and have not is together, and inspired action. They come from 2 totally different positions when you are talking to them. This is where I found myself a couple of years ago, completely stuck in my story. I had a negative relationship with money. I truly believed deep down that nobody could afford to work with me. I had a victim mentality, whereas if I was going to buy something, it would always be down to the responsibility of the person it was that I was buying from to get me the results. So I was, what's the ROI? What's the ROI? So I wasn't taking responsibility for driving myself to get the results it is that I needed. I held absolutely no responsibility. I was thinking from a place of fear, a place of lack. I didn't trust in myself that I could get new business repeatedly and bring it in. So I didn't believe anything was possible because I had such a negative relationship with money. And I hear people say this all the time: I can't afford it, I don't have the money. And all this does is what we believe, let's face it, what we believe we create. So it closes the door to them not only investing in themselves, but also to receiving money as well. Because that conversation you have with yourself is the world that you create around you. And you can live stuck in a stinky money story for the rest of your life. That's where I found myself at first 8 years in business, stuck in my story. I made repeatedly about 8 to 10K a year over those 8 years. Never moved, because I believed, my beliefs were that I believed that people couldn't afford to work with me. People would never pay that. So stuck in story people when you are talking to them on a inquisitive sales call, you won't be able to move them from that position. I've tried to do it lots of different ways, and I've even had, follow-up calls 6 months later and a year later, and they have all been in exactly the same position they were last year. The story hasn't changed. They haven't created a new reality for themselves. They haven't stepped beyond experiencing that actually that bubble just is not true. That is not the reality. It is a reality for them, but it's not the reality for everybody. Money has many different types of personalities. It likes to be saved, it likes to be spent. It has lots of different gorgeous personalities. Now, second story is when you come from a place of lack and money doesn't flow. Money by its nature, if you think of money like a child, its pure nature is to play, to flow, to be with other people, to be spent, to be given as a gift. Money has multiple personalities, but when you're stuck in your story and coming from a place of lack around money, you don't see any of these things. You are coming from a place of fear. Well, it's a place of trauma, I think. It's a place of money drama when you are in this place. It's not a nice place to be. This is survival. This is really about being in survival, holding those negative beliefs around money. So I spent most of my life here until the last couple of years. Now, the second level of wealth consciousness, and this is how you can quickly start to identify and break free of your limiting money beliefs, is when you move into this amazing space, a bit painful if I'm honest, this amazing space where you start to question what's going on around you. You're starting to wake up and realize that there is a different way of doing things. There's a different way of thinking. So you're just starting to wake up and to realize that the beliefs that you hold around money aren't true. And you start to challenge what you really think about your relationship with money. Let me just think of a story which is relevant to the jewelry it is that I'm wearing. And this is when I moved into this space of have and have not. When we first arrived in Bangkok a year ago, we went shopping and I saw this lovely jewelry set and I wanted to get it, but my stinky money story was saying it's too expensive. So I let that dictate my behavior, that stinky money story, the low self-esteem, the low self-worth. And we left the shop and I took it because I was starting to explore money and learn more about the flow of money. When we got back to the apartment, I asked myself some very different questions, which were based around value and not money. As I was standing in that store, I was having literally two this is why I call it have not. I was standing in that store and my brain was going, one part was going, I really want it, it's beautiful, and the other part was going, no, it's too expensive, you can't have that, it's too expensive, you'll run out of money, you can't afford it. All of this other stuff was going on. So I let my negative story overrule what was happening. When I got back to the apartment, I came at it from a very different way. I came at it from a place of value. What value would this jewelry bring to me? Rather than thinking about the money, what's the value? It'll make me feel good. I can use it on my videos, for my business. Subconsciously, women will be drawn to it because they love it, they admire it, they think it's gorgeous. So I started, rather than coming from a place of I can't afford it, I don't have the money, I came from a place of what value is it going to bring into my life? So I switched around from stinky money to actually what's the value this is going to bring to my life? How can I use it to leverage it in my business? Went back and I bought it, obviously, because I'm wearing it. So this is where you start to move into a different way that you see money and a different relationship that you have with money. And when you start doing this, the doors start opening. This is where people might have done some training, some personal development training, and they're starting to grow and break free of their limiting beliefs, things they think are true about themselves, but actually aren't. So they're starting to blossom. They're starting to move. Now, a lot of your clients will be in the have and have not, or taking inspired action. These are the people that you want to work with, because these are the people you can help to get the very best results, because they're awake. They're starting to awake. They're starting to take responsibility for the decisions it is that they are making, rather than staying a victim to the past. Have not is when you're starting to come out of the past and start to be thinking about the future. Stuck in story is back here. There's no movement. Absolutely stuck. Nothing you can do. So you might be thinking you've had a call with somebody and it's your fault that they haven't converted, and you've tried everything that you possibly can, but it's just not working. Someone's at the door, sorry. It's just not working. It isn't because of you and what you are doing. It is because they are stuck in a bubble. They're stuck in their own reality. So please don't punish yourself. Please don't take that in internally. What you're doing is absolutely fine, I'm pretty sure. It's not about you. It's just about the person that you've called in, and you can't, at this point, help. What else do I need to say about stuck in story, have not? They're stuck in story. Their story... Oh, I don't know what I've written there. Let's not bother with that one. So, you know, when you're stuck in story, low self-esteem, low self-worth, you project onto other people. When you are in that place of have and have not, you're still very aware of your story, and you're aware of how you feel about your self-worth and your confidence, and it starts to shift. So you start to take more responsibility, and you can see the value in investing in yourself to create a different, either a different business or something in your personal life. It's focused around growth and moving forward. So that's the have and have not. And this is where you wake up and you can really start to break free of your limiting beliefs, your limiting money drama. Now we're into the inspired action, which is a beautiful place to be. Being in a place of inspired action when it comes to money, so you can move from a place of lack to being financially free, is an ongoing journey. You don't just snap into inspired action and that's it. There are going to be things that you're going to get triggered by and that are going to come up for you in, you know, over the years. That's been my journey. That's what I know to be true. These people are awesome to work with because they take full responsibility for their finances and moving forward and investing and in getting a result. But either have or have not or inspired action are going to be two great groups of people for you to work with, especially in the transformational space, because that's ultimately what we want, is results, isn't it? Inspired action takers, and this is where I sit now. So bye-bye survival, coming from a place of lack. I take responsibility for getting a great return on investment when I invest in a training course. You know, I spend about £1,000 a month on training. So it's my responsibility to make sure that I make that training work for me. I'm fully awake and conscious of my thoughts, my limiting beliefs around money. I take full responsibility for any of the decisions it is that I need to make. And I'm consciously, not even sure that even makes sense. I am very aware of my thoughts around money. Sometimes they get more intense than others because different things play out for all of us in the business, in the life where money is concerned. But I'm consciously aware of my thoughts around money. So I can make a decision what direction I want to go in, rather than coming from a place of fear and lack that just will have you paralyzed, unable to make decisions, unable to move forward. A painful place to be. This is where we can get into inspired action really, really quickly and release the money drama, because we are fully awake. So how this plays out in the businesses and why it's so important when you are bringing people in for calls to see if they are going to be great to work with, you can be thinking in your mind, okay, where is this person at? And you can shape your questions to find out where this person is at as well. And you can think, okay, this person is at the first stage of wealth consciousness. They are still really stuck in their story. That will help you make a decision whether you want to continue the conversation or not. You know, you don't want to go through everything, tell them what your offer is, what the value is. If they're stuck in story, you'll be wasting your time, because they will never convert. If they are in have not, you know that they are going to be absolutely awesome to work with, brilliant to work with. And if they are in inspired action, well, that's even better, to be fair. But have not, inspired action, both perfect, stuck in story, forget it. So you can change your questioning around in the call. That's what I was going to say. You can change your questions in the call, whether you decide to continue the call or call the close down. Now, what else was I going to say? So those are the 3 different levels of wealth consciousness. Really important to know. All solopreneurs need to know this. It will save them an awful lot of time and an awful lot of money. What I would like to offer you the opportunity to grab, and I've put it below in the line, I don't know what you call it, below the fold, we call it in business, below the fold, but that's not what I mean. You have an opportunity to grab a money personality quiz, and what that will do is it will pull out your personality when it comes to money, your strengths and your weaknesses when it comes to money. So go ahead and download the money quiz. It will take about 10 minutes. It's a good piece of work. It will take about 10 minutes to fill it out, and then ping it back to me. Once you download it, there's a little form that comes back. You can put the results in the form and then send it back to me, and we can jump online and I can give you a very quick reading on your money personality, so you can start to play to your strengths rather than letting your relationship with money dictate the decisions it is that you're making. And what's important about that is a lot of the women that I work with are nurturers and connectors, which means that, especially in business, that they have a tendency to put everybody's needs before their own, and they often sacrifice their own financial security to help and support others, not just in terms of money, but in terms of their time as well. So this will really give you the opportunity to start playing to your strengths. My money personality is known as the inner banker. That is my predominant personality. And that means that from a positive point of view, that I'm very, very good at managing money, good at saving, good at bringing money in. But on the flip side of that, the negative, which I have to keep a really close eye on, is that I'm petrified of letting it go. So that's about coming from a place of lack. So now I know that I can start playing to my strengths rather than letting that dominant trait overtake. Okie dokie. So if anyone has any questions, or if anyone would like to join me, let's see if I can do this. If you'd like to join me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop below a link to join me. And if anybody is on and they want to join the conversation and talk about money, what I do need to do is, I've got a client call in a second. Let me pop this below and see what happens. Great little system, this Be Live. I like this. Hopefully I haven't been cut off. Okay. Let's see if anyone, I look like I've frozen on the screen, which isn't such a good thing. Okay, it looks like I've frozen. Hopefully I've been able to share most of my message. I will be back next week, not doing bite-sized training next week, but I will be running a virtual summit, and that summit is all about, let me just pop that in the chat box. That summit is all about women who have used their experiences and the power of their story to create a business that impacts more people, whether that is in business or life. So we have come together to talk about openly. Let's get that in there. Oh, this is clever. Look at that. Very clever technology like this. Yeah, we're coming together to talk about how we've used our expertise, our experience to shape our stories to make a bigger impact in the world, whether that is in business or life, and that is around personal transformation, making a really big impact. So do join us if you can. It will be live in the group, the summit. I think on last count, there were 19 speakers, all of my clients who I've worked with, not all of them, but most of the clients that I have worked with over the last year. Okay, so I'm going to love and leave you. Whatever you are doing today, have an absolutely awesome day, and I will see you on the summit next week.